Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back. We are finally ready for another one. So, been working on the truck, got some of the little annoying stuff done, put the oil pan back on, and I just haven't been having a whole lot of time lately. Like after work, by the time I'm done doing my thing, I could put the oil pan back on. That's all I had time for. So, got the pan back on, got a little more time today, so I got the exhaust manifolds and everything back on. This side is actually the easy side. It's literally just the manifold that goes down to a little V-band, but this one kicked my tail. I don't know what happened, but I just could not get that thing in there, couldn't get it lined up, and it was a rough one, boys. But this one was a little bit easier, surprisingly, but I've done this thing like 20 times, and I seriously could not figure out how to get this thing in there by myself. So I ended up going underneath here and using this 2x4, and I had to kind of like prop it up on here because this bolt, I couldn't get this one in there. I spent like 20 minutes trying to get this thing in there, and I finally asked my wife to come out and help me and prop this thing up so she could hold the stuff up and I could get this one lined up. It just wouldn't go in. All 5 of the other ones were in there and still couldn't get that one in. So wife came to the rescue. She's better at wrenching than I am apparently. So let's throw the intake on. Got a little surprise for the intake. And I do want to do something else. So I got a comment this morning, and it was kind of interesting. Something I didn't really think of, and I don't think I saw it suggested before. If you did and I missed it, I apologize. But to check the coil pack wiring on that side, which makes pretty good sense as another possible issue. There was like an issue, broken wire to the coil pack, something happened, and wasn't sparking but still dumping fuel. That could be a reason that rods are bent. So just want to double check and verify it. Good suggestion, so thank you for that one. And yeah, I'll check it, probably off camera check it and see if I find anything. But yeah, let's get started. I'll show you the surprise. Well, it's not really a surprise, it's just some shit. Okay, so we're gonna do like a kind of unboxing. It's already open, but I know how unboxings are so exciting, so we're gonna do it. I'm gonna pull some stuff out of cardboard, and you guys are gonna be more excited about it. So, bought this from a subscriber, actually. So, thank you very much, and I appreciate all of this. This should really help me. So, this is just one of the flex fuel rails, and I don't know if I'm gonna use this thing, but he just threw it in with the other stuff that I bought, so thank you for that. This was just literally just thrown in there for nothing, and I was actually going to buy one of these from the junkyard the other day just to have it, because I might want to test it or play with it someday. So this thing might be kind of cool. It's got a nice big rail. It's all metal, so might be able to do some funky stuff with this. One of the ideas was either run the return out of the Schrader valve because it doesn't have a return, or what I was thinking while I was looking at this thing, why couldn't you modify the top part to run like a large, half-inch line in and then just use this as a 3/8 return? So something like that might be something fun to play with one of these days if I ever stop breaking the truck and have some spare time. The other magical thing out of the box is another box. What do we have? We have some things. We have some special things. Some funky ass special things. So these are some injectors. These are the injectors that I've been talking about, so not really much of a surprise. These are the fast 86 pound, I believe, injectors, 87.8 pound injectors. So I'm gonna try these things, and I've kind of been thinking about trying new injectors anyways, so we'll see what they do, if they perform any different. It's kind of eliminating the variable of the injectors that I had running at 120+% duty cycle. So these are a little bit bigger, they'll flow a little bit more. I know I shouldn't have any issues with these, and I'll be able to run the duty cycle lower, so that will eliminate that variable of the equation. So just wanted to show you guys that. We'll throw these things in and get her fired up one of these days. So these have a little bit of a different plug on them. So I also went ahead and So went ahead and lost my package, so I have no idea where it is. I just picked up some of these EV1 to EV6 connectors. So this is the EV6 that's going to go into this injector, and this will plug back into the factory harness. But while I was doing this is kind of interesting, and this is maybe a little tidbit, probably not that important, but I thought it was interesting. The harnesses, I was looking at it, this harness in this injector clip, the color in the harness is actually backwards. But what's interesting is the color here for this harness is backwards for the marking that's on the injector. So this harness is good for the injector, but backwards on the clip, backwards on the connector. But what's more interesting, I took a little deeper look into this because I'm weird and I like to nerd boy on some of this stuff. So look at this. This is the one that I got from the junkyard and did my little test rig harness with. And look at this. The polarity is backwards, wired inside the same plug. They're different. So this is like my 2004 harness, and this is from like a 2000 or something like that. The polarity is backwards. Interesting. So all of the plugs on this little test rig here are the same as this one. And I also have another harness here that I checked, and this other harness that I have is the same as this one. So both of these harnesses that I have are opposite of the one that I actually have in the truck. Granted, the polarity isn't really dependent on the, like, injectors aren't dependent on polarity, so it doesn't really matter, but I just thought that was interesting. So stick around for this thing. I want to show you guys later what I'm going to do with this. I just did a giveaway, so I'm not really going to announce yet what this is, and that might be a hint. But yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting that these were backwards, but just wanted to show you that. So you can kind of see in here there, this injector is marked right above that connector on the left side, a little positive. So these are actually marked, even though the polarity doesn't really matter. They are marked. Where I could see this being important is for different types of diagnostics and testing and making sure that they are all hooked up the same way, even though it doesn't really matter, and troubleshooting in the harness, stuff like that. So one other thing I didn't show you guys, I picked up a 4-port steam tube the other day at the junkyard. So gonna roll with that thing. I mean, it's not gonna hurt, so I'm gonna try it out. Maybe if there is a little bit of heat and some extra bubbles back there, it might evacuate some of the steam out, or air pockets, whatever. I don't know, we're gonna try it. It definitely won't hurt. Alright guys, so this is completely back together now, I believe, except for all the stuff that I missed and don't know about yet. But I did change a few things. So I have the downpipe on. That's not too much different. I should say intake pipe, not downpipe, but the difference is I cut it. So you can see it's cut at like a 45. So as air comes in here, it should suck air pretty nicely. I also went ahead and added the 3-bar map sensor. Just sucked it over to here. Teed this thing off for the boost controller. This goes to the boost controller. I just put a regular stock 1-bar map sensor back in there just to plug the hole for now. Different injectors, so I have the wiring harness things on there. It's kind of annoying because these are pretty long. I guess if I thought about it a little bit more ahead of time, I should have, or in hindsight, I should have flipped the injectors around the other way and then wrapped the harness around this side. Would have been a little bit better. Different spark plugs in there. The BR7 EF whatever spark plugs, gap to 20 thousandths. So we'll see how that goes. And other than that, I think everything's pretty much in there. Oh, I also changed this thing. So I did have this little flexible hose on this side also, but I had this laying around, and this works pretty decent. So this was actually from the stock Ranger. I hacked this thing because this was a nice corner. The other one was starting to get kinked. It was like, there's like a metal spring inside here, and the hose is actually like getting sucked into the spring, so I wanted to change that thing. And I do have the 4-port steam vent on there. I know I talked about that before, but when I was filling the coolant, it seemed like totally different than when I filled it in the past, because I usually leave this line off and I hold it up and then I fill through here. Like first I'll fill it completely through the block and then I'll start to fill it through the radiator, and it was burping and bubbling like crazy out of the steam vent hole, and I'd never seen it do that before. It would like be okay, I'd be dumping coolant and all of a sudden it would burp and like spit a whole bunch of coolant out, and then it got to a point where I was holding it up, filling in the radiator, and it was just like bubbling like a volcano, continuously bubbling, and I've never seen it do that before, and I filled this thing like 20 times. So I have a feeling it's related to the 4-port tube, but I'm not going to get too excited about it. So what else we got? Anything else different? No, I think that's pretty much it. So from a tune perspective, I changed some of my knock sensor settings. So I had kind of desensitized the knock sensors a little bit, mainly just the recovery rate. I had them recovering faster, like if it would see knock, it would recover faster. So I basically went back to all of the stock knock sensor settings and retard settings, except for burst knock. So I know it's gonna be a lot more sensitive, and I'll have to test it a little bit more, but I did change that. I did change injector flow rate because of the different injectors and a couple other things, but let's give it a start and see what it does. All right, so honestly, I'm not gonna get my hopes up too much. I had to change a few things. I have a feeling it'll start, but it may not stay running with the injector settings, or I'll have to make some changes. So we'll just start it, see what it does, and we'll go from there. As long as we don't hear any knocking or any loud, weird, goofy things and spit rods and oil all over, we should be able to drive it out into the road and get the mail tomorrow. Please. Yeah, you're fine.
No, don't go in there.
Watch out, T. Watch out, kid. You're fine. You're fine, T. I changed the map sensor, but I never changed the map sensor settings in the tune. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. So I changed it now. I'm gonna write those, write that tune, and then we'll start it. Kids everywhere. Don't come up, T. Okay. All right, come up. We're gonna start it. We're gonna start it, okay? Don't freak out. Don't get scared. Okay, don't get scared. so little man got it all figured out. It does need a little bit of tweaking, a little bit, of course. So yeah, I still had the 2-bar sensor settings in there, so I just changed the settings for the 3-bar and started right up and ran. So just got to make a couple adjustments, then we'll get it out and drive it, but she's going. So basically all I did since I started it was add 5% to the VE table, and I've never felt it run this smooth ever. So I have no way to quantify how well it's running or how smooth it's running, so I thought of something and I want to show you guys. Alright guys, so kind of happy with this thing, how it's running right now. It runs really smooth. I don't think I've ever felt it run that smooth at idle. Granted, the idle was a little bit higher, but it feels like it's running pretty well. So one of two things. Either I used up all of my luck on this first start and everything's going to go to hell from here, or I'm going to take it out and I'm going to have a bunch of problems with it, and I'm still going to have a shitty time. So as you can see, I didn't choose an option that has this situation ending well. So if it does, then we'll be like really good position. So gonna get this video up, edit it, upload it so you guys can see it. Thanks for watching. Gonna go drive it tomorrow, and whatever happens, happens.